Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Gorhamian here with Misfit Studios as always, and today we're going to be showing you how to make the text style crawl just like at the beginning of the Star Wars movie. Alright, so what we need to do is drag in our logo, of course. We're going to be just using just the one. Today we're going to actually be doing the mission briefing for Protocol 51 in the Star Wars kind of crawl format. At the beginning of every Star Wars movie, of course, you see the kind of the recap of what's going on in the universe right after they jump up with the Star Wars logo. That's exactly what we're going to be showing how to do today, only we're going to be using Protocol 51. If you haven't heard about Protocol 51, it's a scenario that Misfit Studios is building in Space Engineers. I will link in the description below on where to get onto our server and how you can buy and download Space Engineers on Steam. Okay, so now that we've got our logo in, the first thing we want to do is make a composite shot. So we're going to just go ahead and click New and Composite Shot. And we're just going to put background on that. So with our background, what we're going to do is we want to make, some stars. We want to create kind of a starry background, just like that background in Star Wars. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit New Layer. We're going to add a new plane. We're going to name this one Stars. And whatever color is fine. White is the default. We're just going to keep it at the default. Now, to make this look like a starry background, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Effects tab. We're going to go and get the fractal noise effect. Going to go ahead and apply that to the plane. What it's going to do is it's going to come up with this kind of ink blotchy kind of background. To change it to a kind of a starry background, let's go to the control panel, down to the effects, down to fractal noise, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to preset and click starfield. All right, perfect. Now that we've got our background set up, really super simple, really easy, kind of a nice way to get our background put in. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to add our text. Well, to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to use the text tool over on the left side in the viewer, and we're going to go ahead and drag a little bit bigger. We're going to zoom out a little bit. We're going to drag down towards the bottom because we want it to, crawl from the bottom to the top. All right, so now that we've got our text box put in, we're going to go ahead and snatch all of our text. You can either type this in manually or you can, get it from another source, type it in Microsoft Word, that kind of thing. I already had and grabbed the mission briefing off of the Protocol 51 website. Of course, I'll link that in the description below as well. So let's go ahead and right click. We're going to go ahead and paste. And what that's going to do is it's going to slap whatever you just, cut and paste or whatever you type into that. Let's go to our move tool, move that up just a little bit. So you can see all of this text is now within this box. Okay. What we're going to want to do though is we're going to go ahead and double click on the inside so we get our little marker. It allows us to edit anything, type and delete and that kind of thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to Control A, and that's going to just highlight everything within your little text box. We're then going to go over to the text tab, and then we're going to change the alignment of these. We're not going to align left to right or center. We want to fill this box as full as we can get it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this box here, justify alignment. And what that's going to do is it's going to move all of our words, kind of give them different spacing to, line them up on the top, bottom, left, and the right of that entire text box. As you can see, our mission briefing up here on the top is a little spread out, then I want to center that. So let's go ahead and highlight those two words on the top because this is going to be, the very beginning of this text. We're going to go ahead and just center align that. We're actually going to make this just what are we doing here? There we go. Okay. We're actually going to make this a little larger. So we're going to come over here to the text tab again and move the font up just a little bit. There we go. And then we're going to hit enter. That'll bring that down just a little bit. All right. So that actually doesn't look too bad. We're going to go over here and scale to fit so we can see it. Yeah, that's not... I like that. We get to that. Okay, so now that we've got our text put in, we actually don't want this to start at the very beginning of our timeline. We actually want our logo to come in first. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our text and draw that bar just out just a little bit. Okay. So now what we want is we want our logo to come in. And to do that, we've got to put our logo in the scene. So let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to toss this logo in. And of course, it's a little large. We're going to go ahead and click this right corner and hold down Shift as we do it. That way it moves both axes at the same time. And what I mean by its length and its width. If you just grab one corner and move it, you can see you can change the ratio of height to width, and we didn't want to do that. So if you hold Shift down and grab one of these corners, you can change the size with still maintaining that original shape. Okay, so now that we've got our logo in, we actually want to make this logo kind of appear really large and then kind of fade away and disappear. So what we need to do is we actually need to change this logo to a 3D object. By doing that, we're going to go ahead to highlight the logo, go to this little checkerboard, click on that, go to 3D plane. What it's going to do is it's going to ask you, hey, you don't have a camera set up, would you like to do that? And just go ahead and click yes, because when you're working in 3D space, you're going to need a camera so you can move around. And so what it does is it changes this, the little viewer here. It gives you, some crosshairs. And if you zoom out on it, what we're going to do is actually going to change the way we look at it. So it's going to go down here to view. We're going to actually view two views at the same time. And what this view is going to be over here on this right side is the top view. So if you back up just a little bit, it's going to be able to show us our camera. So let's actually go over to the left side. And our camera is going to be right here. So this is the point that we see. So if we grab this and move this, you can see it's changing our field of view. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to actually highlight our logo, bring this logo all the way up to the very beginning, just right in front of the camera, just before it appears. So there, let's go one more click. So there we go. Okay, now that we've got our logo just behind where the camera can see it, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and keyframe that position. So let's go ahead and open up the logo, go to transform. And of course, as you can see, there's a whole lot of other things that are added to this once you change it to a 3D object, because you can keyframe different positions and rotations of this because you're talking about a 3D space as opposed to a 2D space. So what we're going to do here is we're actually just going to keyframe the position because we don't have to worry about size or scale, because the scale will change dependent on how far away the camera is to the logo. Let's go ahead and keyframe the position now. So it's right here. And we're actually going to click ahead. Let's go 1 second. And then we're going to move this here right on that green line. And what that green line is, basically, it's where we originated. It's the start of things. So now that we've got that keyframe in, let's go ahead and hit play just to see the speed. That's not bad. Okay, I like that speed. And what we're going to do is we're going to keyframe again. So let's jump ahead another second. So let's go 2 seconds. And we're going to add a keyframe. And what that's going to do is it's going to tell Hitfilm that, of course, adding that keyframe is going to be telling it to go from, this position to this position. But then when we add another keyframe and don't change the value, it's going to tell Hitfilm that I don't want you to start moving until this point. So if we deleted this keyframe, let's kind of explain what I mean here. Let's go ahead and delete this keyframe. And we're going to jump ahead 4 seconds. And we're going to add a keyframe here. And actually, we're going to move this farther away. Okay. Now that we've got a keyframe here, so let's go back to the beginning. Move that so you guys can see it. We're going to go ahead and hit play. See how it slowed down and then slowly moved to that next one, because the time between this keyframe and the next keyframe is a longer time, and so it slows down. That way it can, be that value at that specific time in the timeline. By adding another keyframe, what we're doing is we're prolonging that time period where it starts to slow down. So let's go ahead and go to exactly 2 seconds. And then we're going to add that keyframe. It's just going to give a pause, okay? Just a little pause in between here and here. There's going to be a pause. So now what we want to do is we want to make this logo keep moving off in the distance. So let's go ahead, and from there we're going to go to 3 seconds. So everything is going to happen a second at a time. We're going to add another keyframe, but this time we're going to drag this guy way in the back here. Just like that. And actually, let's go ahead and keyframe our scale while we're at it too. There. And then we're going to jump ahead. You guessed it, another single second to 4 seconds. So now we're going to go ahead and keyframe our distance, which is fine there. And now we're going to make this guy, his scale will be 0. What that's going to do is it's going to make it smaller as it goes away. And so eventually it will not be in the view of the camera. So let's go ahead and go back to our single view, and we're going to get rid of this grid so we can kind of see what's going on here. So let's just go ahead and play and see what we've got with the logo. Good, nice and smooth, but not smooth enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all of these keyframes. We're going to click this little guy here, which is convert selected keyframes to smooth. Sorry guys, I just installed Hitfilm Express 13, and so some of the buttons are laid out a little differently. I'm still learning the new update, but everything looks really clean and nice and organized. So if you guys haven't updated to Hitfilm Express 13, I highly recommend heading over to Hitfilm and getting the latest version. I'll put a link down in the description below for that as well. So let's go ahead and hit play after we've ran things on smooth. All right, there is a little bit of a pause here, though. I wonder. So let's go ahead and delete that keyframe there and see what happens. All right, let's go ahead and move these over here because we don't need it to last quite that long. There we go. Okay, that's what we want. So now that we've got our logo animation kind of put into the video, what we want to do now is we want to go back to our text. Let's go ahead and move our text to the very beginning of this when the logo disappears. So we're going to drag this over here, snap it there, and we want to move this guy in a position that we can see it in the 3D camera. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to add a new layer. It's going to be a point layer. And we're then going to take the text plane that we added in, and we're going to parent that to the new point. Okay, that's just going to allow us to manipulate it in 3D space. So let's go ahead and change the text to a 3D plane, and then the new point to a 3D plane as well. And so you're just changing those objects to 3D objects. We're going to go back over here to our viewer, go ahead and click on two views, and we're still on the left side. So let's go ahead and zoom in, and we're going to highlight our point so we can see it. There it is. So now what this is going to allow us to do is rotate the point on the x-axis, basically saying we want it to rotate away from the camera to give us that angle like you see in the beginning of Star Wars. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we're going to go to our new point that we've parented to the text, so the text will move with it. Pull down the transform, grab the x-axis, and we're actually just going to go 65 degrees. That looks good. Okay, I like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to need to keyframe the point. And so we're going to drag it just out of frame, just there, so you can't see it in the frame. And then let's go ahead and go to, oh, we were there already. Go to position. We're going to keyframe that. So the position is going to start there. And then what we're going to do is we want to make it run, let's try 5 seconds and see how well that does. See if we can get it all in there if it's too fast. We're probably going to be changing it, but that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and drag. If we can grab our new point, there we go. We're going to go ahead and drag this green arrow up. And it's going to want to keyframe about there. So now that we've got, I think I Control Z'd my keyframe out of the way. Go ahead and keyframe its position one more time. And go 6 seconds. And then we're going to move this guy up. There we go. About right there. All right. So now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and play through this whole thing and see how everything works time-wise. Yeah, see, that's way too fast. Okay, so now that we've got that smoothed out a little bit better, it's a lot longer duration, so you're going to be able to read a lot of that text. So let's go ahead and collapse all these. We're going to go back to the single view. And now let's go ahead and play through this just once. Okay, we've got all of the animation down. So all of the keyframing is done. Now what we need to do is change the font. So let's go ahead and Control A on all the font. And we're going to go to Text, go to the Font panel. And we're going to want to go down to Nasalization. Fairly certain that's how you pronounce it, which is the text that's used in Protocol 51, which is right, I went by it, right there. All right, cool. What we need to do now is we need to go ahead and add in sounds. We're going to drag in our little composite shot that we've got. We're going to go ahead and play through that, so just to make sure that everything looks good. All right, not too bad. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So what we want to do is we want to add in some sound. So let's go ahead and drag this in. This is going to be our kind of initiate Protocol 51. I'll put a link in the description below on where I got the audio from. This is actually kind of a teaser trailer on some of the gameplay we've got on our server. So let's go ahead and play.
Initiate Protocol 51.
I really like that timing. That timing is good. I just kind of lucked out on that one. So let's go ahead and add in the rest of the timing, or the rest of the audio, rather. Let's go ahead and in area on that one, and then we're going to out about right there. That's okay. Drag that in. Let's go ahead and clip the end of this because we don't need the entire audio file in it because, of course, it's not that long. Go ahead and play from the beginning and look. Just listen and see how it sounds.
Initiate Protocol 51.
Not bad, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a little audio transition down here on the bottom. I am by no means a sound tech. The Misfit Studios sound tech actually made all of this audio. I'm just kind of stealing it from the previous video that we did, so please bear with me on the audio. It's not great, but it works. So let's go ahead and make a kind of a neat little transition. So let's go ahead and go back to our effects tab. We're going to go down to the transitions audio, and we're going to actually fade on the right side. We're going to make that just a little shorter. That way it's going to fade, quiet and slowly get a little louder. No, we're going to drag that back to its original because that's not quite what we want. So let's go ahead and play that. Okay, not bad. It's a little loud. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight both of these. Just the one. I didn't want the beginning. That's okay. We're going to just lower the volume on that one just a little bit. There we go. That's what we want. Okay, so now what we want to do, now that we've got our audio tossed in and our composite shot done, we're going to want to make something of an outro, kind of the end of it. So to do that, what we want to do is we're going to go back into our media. We're going to go ahead and hit new composite shot. This one doesn't have to be 30 seconds, but that's okay. We're just going to make it 30 seconds. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and add layer, a plane. We're actually going to make this one black. And then we're going to go back to our editor, grab our new plane, toss it in. It's not going to have any audio with it, and that's okay. We're Actually, you know what? Let's drag this out just a little bit because we just need a few seconds of fade to black at the end. So let's go ahead and trim this. We can add a transition on our audio file too. We're going to go ahead and zoom in just a little bit. So now go back to the effects. We're going to go to transitions and we're going to go to dissolve and cross dissolve. I'm going to add that there. And then go back to the effects tab. Of course, go up and go crossfade on the audio. Let's go ahead and play through the end of this and see how it looks and sounds. Let's go ahead and zoom back out. We're going to go ahead and trim that video. Just like that, we're going to go back to the beginning and play it from the beginning and see how everything looks before we export it.
Initiate protocol 51.
The timing is still a little quick on the text, and that's just because I ran out of room when I was making the composite shot because I didn't make it quite long enough. To do this properly, we would probably need to make that composite shot at least a minute long, if not more. That way we can get everything added in. But for the most part, it looks good. We're going to go ahead and export it out and then see what it looks like as a finished product. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, now that we've got it exported, let's go ahead and look at the final product and see how it did.
Initiate protocol 51.
Good. I like it. The transitions are nice and smooth. The audio can be tweaked just a little bit, but like I said, I'm not an audio technician by any means. Thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. Comment down below if you want to see anything else in Hitfilm, and we will see you guys next time.